Hello, Faith. Good to see you today. Thanks for dropping in. For the people who are watching, Faith and I are in the same networking group, and we were having a chat the other day, and she happened to mention the subject we're about to talk about. And I thought this is really interesting, and I hadn't heard the term before, and I thought, let's have a chat. I can't do without my coffee as we go. And we thought we'd just share some of the information. So Faith and I are just going to have a chat today and go through this. Faith, first off, just tell people who you are, what you do, and what your business is.
Hi, everyone. My name is Faith Eeson. My business is Focal Safety Management. I'm a safety enhancement specialist. So I work with small to medium-sized businesses. Large organizations will get me in to help them with different projects. I customize safety management systems. I'm also a trainer, a return to work coordinator, as well as an auditor. So I use these skills to help my clients. I also mentor and coach, and to help my clients understand the how and the why and the consequences.
How long have you been working in that field, Faith?
16 years in my own business, but in a large organization. I also did return to work for, I think, a good 8 to 10 years as well.
Wow.
And I got involved with safety as well and training.
You got a bit. Do you work online or do you have to work in your local area?
I work both online as well as my local area. So COVID was a positive. That people got quite comfortable with online consultations and learning.
Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. It's what we were talking about last week was PsychoSocial. And to me, I conjured up movies and horror books on Audible and things like that. It sounded like a good story plot for a horror movie on Netflix, I thought. But tell me, what is PsychoSocial? Let's have a little listen on that.
Well, PsychoSocial has already existed in the workplace, but so legislation, but in terms of work health and safety, began to identify it, and also was realized that's part of the workplace. And so they put it under the umbrella, which we have been having in the workplace, which is bullying, harassment, just any unreasonable stress that happens in the workplace. And it could be something, a heavy workload, or it means that you're not given enough resources or enough information to do your job effectively. So really, the psychosocial means anything that would impact on you psychologically in that workplace.
It's nothing to do with social media or anything like that.
I suppose depending on what angle, if it's someone in the workplace and that person is bullying you through cyberbullying or something like that, and it relates to work, then that would come in then.
Does that mean if somebody was bullying you through social media and you both work for a company, then that could potentially be a claim against the business?
Yes, so they take a look at it, because I suppose if the bullying is the result of something that's happened in the workplace, or if that's the only place you've actually connect with that person, obviously somehow it would have to relate back to the workplace in order for it to fall under a work-related incident or issue.
So what about things, I suppose the new legislation that late last year, the new legislation about contacting employees outside business hours, that would relate to the burnout part of PsychoSocial.
Yes, because there's rulings around the rest period that each worker should have. If it's in their time and they're at home, you're infringing on their rest time. There's always been that legislation where if a worker's worked X amount of hours, they need X amount of hours resting. If you send in emails and during the time that they at rest, then obviously you're infringing on that.
as I can see where that goes. These laws only apply here in Australia, or is psychosocial worldwide, considered a problem worldwide?
It's considered an issue worldwide, but each country will manage it in a different way. There might be some similarities, but each country will manage it in a different way.
What about here in Australia, where we've got different states? Is there different laws, or is it national, handled at a national level through works?
While we have Safe Work Australia, they
Yeah,
actually set the basic laws. And in other words, there's actually a code of practice of how to manage psychosocial hazards in the workplace.
right,
So there's a code which would apply to every state. However, some states look at their own situations and they might adapt part of it and modify it to suit their particular state.
right. Okay. And does the leadership of organization or small businesses, how do they manage this with everything around them? How do they do it? What are some of the simple things that they can do to put in place to minimize the impact?
I think that really the first thing is taking care of your workers and trying to create a more positive work environment. And those things that you can do in terms of being a leader is being there and being fair to your workers, giving them all the equipment and instructions that they have in terms of the work that they do. Also ensuring that there's policies and procedures to protect them or to guide them or to help them, and having that open door where workers feel free and safe to come to you as that leader, whether you're a manager, whether you're a supervisor, to discuss any issues they might be having in the workplace. It might be that there's some conflict between themselves and another worker. It might be that they feel bullied. It might be that they feel that their workload is too large or too small. But it's having that open door where there's that communication and workers feel comfortable to bring forth any complaints or even positive ideas they have in terms of best practices in the workplace.
I was reading something today, and there's a post, and they're saying that where sometimes leaders will say, well, this is the way we do it, and this is just who I am, is not good enough these days. You have to be more open-minded. You have to watch that. Would that be right?
Yes, and you have to have empathy as well and look at things from the positions of the workers. You're a leader, and if you understand leadership is about you supporting your workers and listening to them and communicating effectively to them. They're comfortable around you. They need to feel there's a good morally. They feel good about being in that workplace.
Can you think of a quick short story where something surprising has turned out to be a psychosocial claim at all? Can you think of anything that comes to mind?
I got different ones. It's a really good question. I think generally one experience or a few experiences that I've had in working with different clientele is where there was management probably come from a place where they more authoritative and they're not willing to listen. So there's a one-way direction, and eventually that comes across like almost bullying. But gets into that into that category where it's bullying because they're not listening to you, they're giving you directives, and that can really create a toxic environment where staff feel they're not heard or where things go wrong because they're not listened to, because they might be coming to you and say, look, I've noticed this is happening, identify hazards or issues they see upcoming, and they're coming to you to try and prevent them. But
Right.
exactly what you said earlier on, this is the way we do things and that's it. So I'm not changing anything else because they're not listening to you. We've got to also understand in that leadership role, you're not at the grassroots doing the work.
Yes.
The workers are there, and it might be a service-based organization where the workers are going out to the clientele and providing the clients with services, and they are identifying issues that are there within that workplace. So they need that avenue to come back to you and say, look, I think we need to change this procedure. We need to do this differently, or we need these extra resources. But if you are that authoritarian where you say, this is the budget, this is I'm moving forth, this is where it stops, then obviously it opens that potential to have that harm done, hazard or an incident.
And I understand burnout. It didn't burn me out, but I remember a job that I had. I was going back into the, working from, say, 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock or 5:30, and then I'd go back at 9 o'clock and leave the office again at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. And one time I remember leaving there at 3 o'clock in the morning. My inbox was empty, and when I got back there at 8 o'clock in the morning, I had 100 emails.
Wow.
And I could say then I needed another staff member to help me in that particular instance. So, but I can see how they eventually listened, but up until that stage I was getting close, but they didn't have those back then. It's a while ago now. Faith, we're running out a little bit of time because we want to keep it short for people. What have you got a checklist or something that you can send to people if they make contact with you, that they could get from you at all?
Yes, I've actually been putting together an ebook,
right,
which I can actually send out to people. So I'm just doing the last review on it. With legislation and it's coming in, you're constantly updating. So I just wanted to update a few things, and I'll be able to send it out in the next day or two.
On LinkedIn, just look up Faith Eeson. Are there many Faith Eesons on LinkedIn?
No, I'm the one and only.
Fantastic. And the other one is here, and I'm just going to share my screen quickly, and I just got to be able to do that really quickly. And I'll just put up Faith's contact details. We've cheated. We didn't have a slide. We weren't using a slide presentation. Just taking this off her email signature. And there's Faith's contact details. There's the website for Faith. And here's info@focal.com. And there's the phone numbers, mobile and the desktop, landline desktop. So do contact Faith because she is very knowledgeable. Over the couple of years that I've got to know Faith, the amount of information that she has provided and some of the stories she's told us and some of the things that are issues in the workplace are really quite amazing. And she is a wealth of knowledge and a lovely person to boot. So please contact Faith. You've got the contact details there. Look her up on LinkedIn. Faith, thank you so much for having a chat and a cup of coffee. I've been having the coffee. I noticed you haven't. I need to be sending something out to you on that one. But thanks again for sharing this with people, because I really think PsychoSocial is a real looks like it's can be a real minefield, and something that could slip under the door without realizing it. So take care, folks. Have a listen and contact Faith if you've got any questions. Thanks very much, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you so much.